Hello. I just wanted to start coming on here and sharing my thoughts. If you don't know me, my name's Alyssa, or Liz. Welcome to the video. If you clicked on this because the title resonated with you in some way, I just wanted to um, come chill and have a little talk with myself about how I've been doing lately and seeing if anyone else understands as a someone in their young 20s to feel a little lonely, and I'm finding a lot of strength in that loneliness in a way that I haven't in a while, um, because I very much right out of college felt a lot of FOMO. I felt a lot of pressure to want to meet all the good people in the world and be friends with everyone that I knew I could make friends with. It's a big issue I've had after coming from the culture shock of college, and now that I've graduated for a few months now, I'm starting to realize that my own company has always been my favorite company, and I want to make the most of the time that I have being by myself, having my own free time, not being at work or being around other people. I feel like I've always had a good balance between work and social life, but the self love has always been there. So, if anyone else is kind of starting off on their self love journey in a way where it's like I've been trying to for a long time, but something's finally clicked. Something's clicked for me. And one of the first things I wanted to start with talking about is my routines um, and my hobbies, just so people can get to know where I am right now. Because I admittedly am not very good at talking to myself, so I want to use what I think is really working for me, the newness, and just kind of go full-fledged into it. And while I'm talking, I might be looking down a little bit because I kind of just started this little guy that I want to try and ink in a little bit. I'm not very good with ink pens, but hey, you got to start somewhere, you know? And I have all of these Microns that I got probably for Christmas many, many years ago. So this is going to be very off the dome and experimental. And if no one sees it, no one sees it. But I'm doing it. Starting off with some of my routines that have really made me feel better and more self-confident. Morning routine. I wake up. I've been trying to wake up around 8. That's where my natural alarm is, but I have an alarm set anyway, so if I'm up before it, if I'm up after, whatever. I wake up. I try to make my bed right away, and then I'm really hungry in the mornings usually, so I make myself a big old bumpkin breakfast. And I usually journal whenever I'm eating in the morning just to get my initial thoughts out, because I fall asleep a lot thinking about what I want to do the next day, or if there's something stressing me out. I just try to get it out of the way right in the morning, and it's a nice little wake up ritual. Just, again, not having to really talk to anybody but myself, but I'm very aware of my emotions. So I take my time with breakfast, and then I wash my face, brush my teeth, water my plants. And at that point, it's usually been like 45 minutes. So if I have shit to do, I'll like go. But after that, I feel like my mind is a lot more clear. The journaling has been a really big help for me. I've always been a really big writer. I'm not able to articulate my thoughts right off the dome as other people really are in social situations. I very much prefer having a blank space in front of me and just like throwing myself at it without having my lips having to move. To journal and just like not judging myself for what comes out. I don't really read over it. I just get it all on paper has been really healing. And you know, when people say journal, not to preach or get on a soapbox, but I'd recommend it personally. And I feel really calm at that point. And I can usually just like watch a movie or like go for a walk if I have the time to. And then my night routine, I've had really horrible issues with trying to sleep for a long time, and that's been a big downer for my self-confidence and just my ability to think. throughout my life. So prioritizing my night routine over the past couple weeks now, I've really seen a big difference in like my anxiety starting to cool out, and I'm just able to again be in my body more often than not. Night routine. Once I'm ready for bed, I again wash my face. It's a very simple moisturizer, exfoliant, and then I just have like an overnight cream that I put on. I don't like to go to bed dirty. Shower if needed. You know, I floss and brush my teeth, and then I like to stretch. I don't really do a lot of like yoga, but like very simple stretch, like arms. I'll stretch my legs. If I went to the gym that day, I'll, really focus on what I worked out that day. And then at that point, I like to have my glasses off and have some really calming piano music playing. I spray my bed with some like essential oil spray I made, lavender and rose petal. Highly recommend. I put on my gel mask and I read until I can't read anymore. And it's been so nice not looking at my phone or looking at a screen in like the last 2 hours before bed. Whenever you're like reading a story, you can keep like thinking about the story, but it's much more methodical because I read hardback. Some people like to read off their phones, totally fine, but it's a much more like structured, winding down habit that really works for me. And so that routine has helped me fall asleep within like 30 minutes with like the scent aroma, not being able to see makes me sleepy, and then not getting like stuck in my anxious thoughts has been a big one, because of the reading. All of that kind of triggers my brain as like, okay, we can like kind of slip into slumber now. And those two routines, they're very simple. I had to define them for myself, but they have been a huge help in creating self-love. And routines are something that allow me to realize, one, how much free time I actually have. And it also gives me the air to just like jump into the next thing. Because with habits, when I know Atomic Habits is like kind of a more popular book. I listened to the audiobook for it recently, and the parts about like having chain links of habits to build routines, that's what I've kind of been focusing on for those two night and day routines. And then like in the middle, I kind of had to focus on more micro habits or just like letting myself have a break, because I'm not gonna like stress myself out about not hitting the right mark. It's all about a process, and the journaling is for me to document day by day what works and where to grow. That structure lets me have a lot more ability to be someone with so many hobbies. And so I recommend trying to do the same thing every night, every morning, and then giving yourself time to like live your life in the middle. So some of my hobbies include art. I'm an artiste, I'd like to think so. I like to consume media, but I'm trying to make it much more mindful media. So recently I've been trying to watch more movies, read more books, and I just listen to a fuck ton of music. And being someone who's multifaceted and doesn't really have the ability to like find one art medium or like one type of music that I can like really research or like dedicate myself to, it's something that I've kind of struggled with for a long time, because a lot of people have the ability to hyperfixate on things. And I find that really impressive, to just like really know yourself enough to love a few things really passionately. But there's so many things in the world to experience that I'm like, I need to try it all. Cooking, making jewelry, making doodling, reading, walking around, going places, thrifting. The list goes on and on, really. It's something that I'm just trying to say that whenever I go into a day, I don't know what I'm going to feel like doing. It just has to come to me naturally, coming out of a morning with a clear mind allows me to create a better, clearer direction. For example, I've been wanting to go to the gym a lot more recently. That's maybe been my kind of hyperfixation, and a lot of my self-confidence has kind of been determined on whether I'm able to go work out or not. And so yesterday I was just doing some lifting. I listened to, um, like self-care or like health videos while I'm doing it. And yesterday I really just worked out until I couldn't feel my arms anymore. I was like, Jesus Christ, why am I doing this? But I try to like push myself a little bit more every time. And yesterday at my like last workout, I was like doing my last sets of 2, interchanging 2. I really started like see muscles. I was like, those weren't there before. Hello? Who is she? And that was really validating. Afterwards, I like flexed and I was like, I've never flexed and like seen something actually come out of my arm. It was really nice. And it hurt to flex, but I was just like, it was just so validating to see your progress actually happening. But now that I actually am giving myself the free time to explore that and like dedicate time to it, and like I can actually see progress a little bit week by week versus something with like media consumption. It just kind of happens. And with many things in life, one day you're like, oh shoot, I know a lot more than I used to. And like knowing that you like yourself in that moment is something really validating, and I recommend chasing it as much as possible. Something that, as a perfectionist, self-acclaimed, never heard of before, I am a big perfectionist, and that's something that I'm trying to get over, because if you do want to see changes so quickly, you're gonna have to push yourself really hard, and pushing yourself hard and like jumping in means challenging yourself, and that means making mistakes, and that means that making mistakes is good for you. Crazy. That's something I've really had to reconcile with. And the more that I have allowed myself to kind of not abandon social my social circle or anything, but very much kind of putting myself in a state of silent self-love, that sacrifice really has been worth it for me. Once I am ready, to move on to the next thing and the next thing and all the hobbies that I want to do, other people will probably simply start integrating back into my life, and we'll start having dinners together and maybe working out together. But being 20, you're only going to be in this decade for so long, and I've had the struggle of feeling so young at this point in my life. But I just keep telling myself, well, today is always going to be the oldest you'll ever be, so rely on your wisdom. The past is in the past, and no one can tell you how to grow better than you can. Making myself uncomfortable in a way of growth is something that I've also had a strength towards, and now that it is, for example, fitness, it's something that I can feel physically rather than like having a panic attack and being like, but I persevered. That's been really helpful for me. Getting to like let things pass in my own time because there's no one else involved, it's really freeing. There's a lot of peace in knowing yourself. I've gotten to the point where I'm not hiding things from people, and I'm taking the time for myself. I just want to talk about a few things I've learned to get to this point, a point of expansion into that best version of myself. I want to talk about my college experience. Oh, there's a beautiful butterfly. Goodbye, baby. And so if I seem a little bit distracted or a little bit inward taking, It's because this is kind of hard for me, which some people might not realize. Some people love to talk about themselves, and I love that for them. Yeah, I've always been a thinker. I've always preferred writing down my feelings rather than saying them out loud. And coming into college, I was in a relationship for I was around 3 years at that point. I was with a guy who was too old for me, okay? But I felt people are trying to depend on me. I need to be dependable. That's what I bring to the world. I'm like a helper, I'm a listener. I have to fill the space of uncomfortability for people and be that middleman so other people don't have to suffer because I can take it. I've had enough smooth sailing in my life. Gotta put myself in the stressful situations. I was dealing with getting over that relationship after breaking it off by entering other relationships over relied on me, or people just were not in my league in hindsight. In college, I focused on doing the most all the time because I'm so extra and I do a lot, and I didn't realize how much energy I was able to expend towards other people who weren't able to commit to their studies as much as I was, or just had shit going on at home. I really hope that car isn't interfering too badly. Fuck motorcycles or people who are loud about it. I just had a lot of anxiety because I felt like I had to be there for people all of the time. And so in my senior year, I kind of got major burnout, I first time considering even dropping out for real. But I ended up just doing my full semester, detaching myself away from all these extracurriculars I kind of poured myself into. And because I realized that, I thought I was really putting myself out there, but then people would be like, you're kind of quiet. That was because I was doing so many fucking different things where I was putting my energy in all these different places that I was kind of just a ghost in my own life. And then I got in my junior year a bad relationship, bad work situation, stressful. I was stressed. I was in a stressful situation, so I kind of had to pull myself out of that really aggressively. And so my senior year, I kind of just forced myself to finish that up. I met my partner that I'm still with now, and I started meeting people that didn't have to rely on me so much, or if they did, and that was really nice. And then I started healing my connection with those people I really still feel in touch with, because I was spending my time focusing too much on people that were demanding my attention. And so all that healing kind of started my last semester of my senior year, where I was literally taking one class because I wanted to graduate in the winter. And I could not because I had 2 credits left, so I just took my one class online. That point of being in school, but mentally I'm out of school, was really perfect for me because I wasn't allowed. I mean, I could have been more engaged with on campus stuff, but I was like, why would I? Mentally, I've graduated. On paper, I almost have. Now I can focus on school, but truly just be focusing on myself and my friends. All of the having to break off bad ties, all of the stress of things like being an RA or being in a toxic relationship with my cat, that's another story. It all kind of made me want to close off, and that closing off sensation hasn't really left me yet, because it truly was a defense mechanism, and that defense mechanism is watching out for you, and you're watching your own back in your subconscious a lot more than you think you are. But I was still presenting socially as a little butterfly. I can go twice as high in being extra. And so now in these past few months that like the self-resilience is something that I've come to be really proud of. I feel like I'm adulting pretty well. Overall, I've just been really grateful for my college experience. And even though there's things that make me so anxious that my heart starts beating so fast just fucking seeing something that reminds me of it, I'm better to have experienced it because I had something's flipped in me. If I wasn't fully, truly being myself all those 4 years, then I feel like I would have a lot more making up to do now. I did that earlier. A lot of people got to start now. A lot of people are going to start doing that later. People, get out of situations that are holding them back in their own time. And now, since I'm in that middle phase of like, I know what the processes are truly good for me. I'm not hiding behind anything. I'm not lying to myself anymore. But now I have to put in work in a new way. That's so freeing as someone who loves to do work and do things. This is hopefully just a little introduction video to where I've been, where I am now. I'm not really trying to give advice, but if I'm resonating with people and if I'm able to connect with people good, dandy even, I want to keep focusing on myself. It's just I've never been so sure of something. Now that I'm like giving myself clarity, the clarity that no one else is able to provide for you, that is freedom. And so if you find peace, focus on that peace. Focus on it every day. Give yourself a little bit of time every day, and then let yourself expand out into what the unpredictability of life is. Take your past experiences in full, but don't let them control you, and just do your hot girl shit. That's all it is. The only reason you're not doing hot girl shit is if your brain is telling you can't. I mean, there's also a lot of situational things that I'm aware of that, that's not what this video is about. If this resonates with you, let it sit with you in the night, in the morning, and then let yourself breach out into newness. Challenge yourself in a way that isn't painful, like you're gonna hurt yourself if you pursue this mentally, physically, whatever. But if it feels new, if it feels exciting, that's life, baby. So I'm just gonna take some time and draw, and I hope to make more of these soon. I've been wanting to make video essays for a while now, but if I do end up changing from like this free talk, I do want to like make media analysis videos or like episode reviews, but that's just like kind of intimidating with like all the research, and then I would want to write a whole script so I know what I'm saying, and I'd have to gather all the footage. This just getting started on something that I know feels right is in the right direction for me to, document who I am, see the progress, but on video rather than just journaling. It's been fun. It's been fun. I hope you have had fun too. If I end up making another video like this and that kind of thing interests you, I hope to see you there as well. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.